Thank you for joining us for our Prospect Center overview today. We will be introducing you to the new layout and how to use it going forward. So first of all, I have pulled up a sample prospect, and you'll notice that there are 3 sections to the page on left, center, and right. We'll just start across the top and work our way through each of the new features and sections here. So at the top, we have our prospect name, which can be edited. You can also upload the profile picture for that prospect. And then we have all the activities that can be performed for this prospect. This is our standard record activity icon that you can use to enter information and schedule the next step, put appointments and tasks in, send an email through Continuum, print, which gives you the one-page printout, print screen, and then obviously a delete icon if you have those privileges. We'll look at the fields and layouts in a little more detail, but this is where you'll find all of the fields that you fill in about the prospect inside of their profile and a search for that field area. If you have multiple layouts available to you, when you click on the layout button, you will be able to change those layouts here. So this is everything on the left-hand side of the page. It's geared towards that profile name, their profile picture. We have all of the activities that can be performed, and then we have all of the fields and layouts that you can fill in. Then across the top middle, you're going to notice a graphic right at the top. And this is the visual of the workflow or the sales process for this prospect. And you can see in the bolded last highlighted arrow, that is the step that this prospect is in. So every time you launch a prospect, you'll get this dynamic visual of where they are in the process. You can also click on this icon or this graphic and see the full workflow and all the activities that are available inside of that workflow for you. Next, we have our activity timeline. So this is really where the meat of the Prospect Center exists. So when we look at the activity timeline, we have some headers across the top. The very first tab here in the header gives us a summary or a listing of every activity that's happened with this prospect. That's any note entered, appointment or task completed, scheduled, emails that have been sent out or scheduled, events that they are RSVP'd for or have attended. And then they're all summarized together in this first note or this first tab. Now, if I click on these tabs to the right, you'll notice it filters down. So I'm just seeing the appointments now. I'm just seeing the tasks that I've completed. I'm just seeing the emails that have gone out. You get the idea. These are really just quick filters so that I can see that information. Okay. The next thing that you're going to notice is another selector button here that lets you change the kind of view of the activity. I'm currently in the workflow view. So that is giving me all of the activities grouped up by the step that they occurred in. So in the discovery step, which is my step 1 here, I had 2 activities, a phone call and an appointment. In the meeting step, I had recorded verbal commitment and a tour. So it's grouped according to the steps in your workflow. So this visual showing you all the steps gives you the step breakdown in this workflow view. Now, this is nice to see, gives you an idea maybe where most of your activity has occurred or how much activity has occurred in each step. Then we have the timeline view. This is a chronological grouping of all of the activity. At the top here, you're always going to see your planned activity. Okay, that supersedes any kind of completed grouping. So you'll see I have 1 future scheduled activity for December 6th for this prospect. And then below that, you'll see all the other completed activity grouped up by month. So I can see over time, what are all the activities that have been occurring. Now, the next view is the view that I think most of us enjoy looking at because it gives us all of our special notes or comments that we've put in along the way. So when I click on the notes view, I'm still getting the entire timeline displayed to me when I'm looking at the activity node, but I'm also getting an expanded section that shows me all the notes that have been entered. So now this is really the scripted model. I can read through this and see everything that's happened and when it happened for this prospect. The next piece that we've added here is a search that searches across all activity, headers, text descriptions, etc. So I can go, when was it that I talked to them about the whitewater community? And I just type in any part of what I'm wanting to search, and it brings up that information for me. So in April, we talked to Scott about the whitewater community. He wanted to tour the courts. Well, when he was there for touring the courts, he also wanted to see the whitewater community. This wildcard search is so useful when we're looking through all of this history and all of these activities. If we want to see what we have scheduled here, you can simply click over, and I kind of moved away so you can see as I mouse over, a hyperlink displays over this appointment or this task. And when I click on that, I get all the detail here. But let's say I want to adjust the title for this task. I found out, the son might be interested in attending, so I want to remember that when I call. My due date, I can designate a different activity. So I can save all this in place. I get an opportunity now with a save button. Okay, so there's no separate window to go for editing an appointment, no other steps to do. I just simply click on that title, and now I can make additions, modifications. And so let's go look again across these sub-tabs. The appointment information is pretty straightforward. The other piece that I want to point out here is when you open up one of these completed activities, you can edit the notes. When you're working with this value, I can also change the activity and type information now. This is for administrators only, but if something got recorded incorrectly, I can change the nature of the activities and their types for reporting purposes. So this is a new feature, again, for administrators. So users, as you're watching this, if you get something recorded incorrectly, you can reach out and have that adjusted as needed. And again, as soon as the page senses that I've changed something, I can now save that. So tasks work pretty much the same way. I can open those up. I see the notes, I see the activities and the types. And then here are some emails. So let's look and see what we get to look at when we look at the emails in the timeline now. When I open up an email from the header, now I get to see not only the body that was sent out in this email, but I also get to see if it was delivered, if it bounced, if it was opened, or if someone clicked on a link that was in the body of that email. So now I have all of this communications intelligence right here at my fingertips. It's a great way to verify if someone is taking action on the communications that you're sending out, or if there's a problem with their email address, maybe you need to contact them and correct that. And then let's look at events and advertising. So I have one event here, and if I open that up, you can see who has been linked to this event, that's in the contact area for this prospect. So this is, there could be 30 people coming or have RSVP'd for this event, but when I look at it in this view, I'm only going to see the contacts that are linked to my prospect. So the actual person and their daughter, the person that referred them. So if I open up Scott's record here, now I can see, well, he's just showing as invited. Maybe he calls in and I could change his status to be RSVP'd. And again, as soon as I make that change, now I can save it and I get a message at the top, your data was successfully saved. Okay. But again, just to drive home that final point, all the activity is in this one middle section so that you can view everything, search it, you have edit options. We can even get into the details on the emails and the advertising. And then finally, I do want to point out in this section an additional tab that really doesn't have much to do with activity, but it is important information that we may be capturing for our prospects. So many of us are logging, the monthly service fees or an entrance fee program if we're have a life plan community. We're also capturing deposit information. So instead of having that in one of the sections over on the left-hand side, which we could still have them there, we actually pulled this deposit and fee information out to be standalone. And it's nice to look at this information in a formatted way where I'm entering the data, I can see it totaled, I can work my deposits, and then we can see the final balance here. So it really helps with the display of all these values and their calculated fields. So again, deposits and fees are sitting here in this section. Okay. So then let's look at the right. The right-hand side, think of it as really everything that's linked, right, to this to this prospect. And first of all, we're going to look at the contact section. At the top, the primary contact always shows first. And when I launch the page, their information is expanded automatically. So I have, what's their relationship, their contact information, everything's here that I would need potentially to communicate with them, or I need to know, ongoing. Now, I can also collapse my primary contact and open up, let's say, Jane, who is the daughter-in-law. And again, I have all of her information displayed here so that I can get to that in detail. Now, let's say I don't really communicate with Scott. I'm really working with the daughter, for this particular prospect and move-in process. I can click on the primary contact icon, and move her to the top. So now Jane is going to be designated as my primary contact. Scott's still in the list, but he moves down the page. And additionally, I want to show you the concept of seeing who your referral person is. So Rachel from Berkeley Lake Hospital is the person who referred Scott to us. So we have her information here as well, and we can see, what organization she belongs to. If I want to add new contacts, I have two buttons here at the top. In our Add Existing mode, what I'm trying to do is add an existing contact from the system. So maybe this is somebody who already exists, but I want them to be tied to this prospect record. And so let me look for myself. So here's Lynn, and Lynn really is one of my contacts that goes with the Scott prospect. So I found her, I'm going to check her name, and I could check off more than one person, and then I'm going to click Save. Okay, so now I have a fourth contact in the list. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward, putting, linking another contact to this prospect record. Then if I need to add a brand new contact, so someone now that is involved in this move-in process, I click Add New, and now I have a simple form to fill out to get this information entered into the system. I also want to mention, if you want to expand these and look at more details, this detail page is a little short summary of maybe the most important information. But if I want to see everything about Jane, I click her name and you'll see the whole contact page swings out, and now I have all the information if I need to get to it, and I can edit it and change it from here. Similarly with Rachel and Berkeley Lake Hospital, if I want to see the information about Berkeley Lake, I can click their name and the entire profile for Berkeley Lake swings out, and now I can work with that record too. So let me collapse the contact section and then focus on attachments. So anything that you may want to attach, like a agreement, forms that they're filling out, assessments that you've completed, all of those can go here. You have an add attachment button, and this will bring you into a dialog where you can drag attachments into this area or browse and pull them, from your computer. And then there's a small detail window here, just giving us the kind of background server information, like when was this created, who created it, last modified. You'll find that on the bottom right. All right, so we've gone through every section here of the layout. I wanted to go back and focus on a couple of areas. One of those is the fields that are showing in the detail layout section. So I showed you how you could change detail layouts if you have more than one. If we want to look at fields in this section, I just simply open up this little header and I can go in and edit information. So for example, this is a multi-select dropdown. So I can click values, uncheck values, and when I'm done, I just click away from that field, and you'll see again, automatically, I have a save button if I want to go ahead and save this. The drop downs are really clear how to navigate. Here's a text field. Etc. And so I can work in any and all of these sections to update information. And when I'm done, I can click save. It updates, I get my success message, and I'm done. The other thing that we have here is another search box that just applies to the fields in this area. So let's say, I know I want to look at a couple of waitlist fields, but I really can't remember what they are named. So I can just type in the word wait, and that gives me a quick view of every field with the word wait in it. Okay, now I can work with these fields and save. Okay, so again, we've tried to make little quick features and functions so that you can get to the information very efficiently all on one page. Okay. Now, a little tip, trick for users who may be familiar with our older interface. I know many of you are used to seeing all the fields in one section. So if we click the print icon, this is a way for you to get to that single view of information on one page. Okay, so you'll see this is the discovery section. I can look at all the information. And again, you can print this if you want to print, but I just wanted to show you that there is a representation of all of the filled information on one page for those of us who like to look at it, in this fashion. So let's walk through a couple of activity entries. I think this is very straightforward. Again, the whole purpose of this page is to keep everything in one page so that you don't have to change screens or change tabs. You get visibility of all the information at all times. So when I get ready to complete this activity, I simply click the checkbox. And I said checkbox, but the checkbox beside the activity that I'm going to finish. The record activity screen comes up that we're all familiar with. I'm going to complete this. Enter notes for demonstration purposes. I can fill in the information in the smart form and then plan next activity. And again, you'll notice this is all staying in one screen. I can drag this around if I want to move it and do something different, but I'm able to work in the same screen here. And then I'm going to just record a quick phone call. And I will assign this to Jane. Okay, so record activity is very similar to what we've used in the past. It just all launches in one screen. You can drag it around, but everything within that record activity screen is the same. Let's say I want to schedule up an extra appointment. I followed up with them. I've scheduled up another follow-up, for December 1st, but we've already planned for them to come in for, lunch for move-in prep mid-December, excuse me. So move-in planning is an appointment. We're going to put this out to December 15th, coming in for lunch. And again, I'm going to assign this to Jane. So I just used the appointment icon on the left. I've entered in a new appointment. And when I save this, it's going to be in my planning list here at the top. Okay. Same thing happens with tasks. So you're balancing between just completing scheduled activity like you always do versus adding in special appointments or tasks, from the left. I can also get into that record activity screen with the icon on the left. And then I can pick which one of these I want to complete. Let's schedule up an email just so we can go through that walkthrough. So I click the email icon. Every contact that is linked to this prospect is automatically filtered for me in this list. I can send to everybody, or I can just drag them over one at a time and pick who I want to send to. I'm going to click done. And now I'm in my normal email sending screen here. So I'm going to select my template, tour follow-up. You'll see this is a nice little HTML email with some images. I'll give it a title. You can see who it's coming from. And then I'm going to schedule. Okay, so I'm going to send it now. And what you'll see is it's still in the plan section because it takes it, a few seconds to get sent out of the server. But I can see that it was scheduled today at 3:24. So it's still in the plan section until it goes out. So that is Prospect Center in a nutshell. Let's just summarize a few key features, things that make it easier for us as a user. Number one, everything is on one page. You literally can access all the data on this screen. You do not have to click away to another area. We have a visualization of the workflow at the top, and I can drill in and go look at the detail of my workflow. I have all my activity summarized down the middle of the page with notes, with detail, who completed it. I have a search here that will search on any piece of the notes information, from the descriptive header, title, subject line, all the way through to the body of the notes. I have quick access to look at all of just one activity, appointments or tasks, emails. I have all of the contacts showing on one page on the right-hand side. I can open those up to get to their detailed contact information. All of my attachments are here for me to access on the right-hand side. On the left, I have all the data fields at my fingertips. I can enter a wildcard search. So I want something with resident or residents in it, and I can get all the fields back at one time and scroll through and look at those. I can change layouts from here. I have all of the activities at my fingertips on this one page. And then we have a nice little added feature of putting in their profile image here. So thanks for attending today. We hope you guys all enjoy the Prospect Center. We look forward to hearing from everyone and hope you all have a great day.